Let's go. You know what it is. You know who's on the mic. Let's get it. All right. It's time to get into character. So let's begin. My name is Michael DeLu, and you're tuned in to Pull Up the Tape. Before I get into any of the politics, you guys know the drill. Well, those of you guys who are watching, you guys know the drill. First thing I like to do is just show how appreciative I am of everybody who's supporting me right now. So, and now I'm gonna ask you guys to do one of the following. It's not too much. It's not too hard. Pretty simple. All right. So for those of you who are listening to my podcast on Spotify, unfortunately, that's the only platform I'm on right now. I'm working right now to get onto Apple Podcasts. I'm waiting to get approved, and SoundCloud. For those of you guys who are listening to this podcast, please do me a favor and just tell anybody that you know about this podcast. Tell anybody that you know that loves sports, that loves basketball, that loves any sport. If they like basketball, soccer, football, or MMA, boxing, let them know about my podcast. I'm positive they will like it. They'll watch it. They'll love it. They'll hear it. They'll see my energy, and they'll rock with me. And for those of you who are watching this video on my YouTube channel, do me a big favor. Hit the like button. Comment on this video. I'm about to talk about a couple things, and if you tell me what you think. If you agree, if you disagree, it only takes a couple seconds. And lastly, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification. That's the most important one. Well, actually, all of them are pretty important because it helps me get to where I'm trying to go. But obviously, you guys all know that that's very, very significant to what I'm trying to do. But once again, I just want to thank everybody who's supporting me. I just started. I know where I'm gonna be, which is at the very top. So I'm working right now. I'm staying hungry, staying humble, I'm confident as well. Bow, movie. We're gonna shake the room. Let's get it. We're gonna shake up the whole industry. So the first thing I want to get into is UFC 251. This was the first event that took place in Fight Island, which is in Abu Dhabi, and it was a great card. So I'm gonna start off. There was three title fights. So I'm gonna start off with the main event. So Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, my Nigerian brother. Yes, my Nigerian brother stomped Jorge Masvidal out. Okay, it was a unanimous decision. The fight went the full 5 rounds, but so we thought it was gonna. Not we. Yes, I'm gonna say we. The masses and the general population, fight fans, UFC fans, MMA fans, thought this would be a very good fight. Thought it would be a very entertaining fight, but Kamaru Usman had otherwise in mind. This wasn't going to be an entertaining fight at all. Usman did what he does best, and yeah, that's what we all know is dominate. And if I could take into consideration all the rest of the fights I'm going to discuss, honestly, this was probably the most boring one. Not boring as in it wasn't fun. I mean, I like Usman. He's Nigerian. I rock with him. But, I mean, if for the typical MMA fan or somebody who, if this was their first time watching the UFC and they watched that fight, they probably wouldn't have been impressed. It's like, damn, this dude is just beating up on Jorge Masvidal for 5 rounds. Come on now. Considering all the hype this fight got and how well he touted both these fighters was, it just didn't live up to that. And again, it's not a bad thing, but, it's because Usman just dominated. Jorge Masvidal isn't the strongest fighter on his back or on the ground, especially not when he's fighting an elite wrestler like Usman. Yeah, it wasn't too pretty. Usman dominated the majority of this fight. I'm gonna read out the stats later on in this segment, but he nullified Masvidal. He was able to maneuver himself inside at Masvidal's reach, and within a few seconds into the fight, he caught a kick, and he was able to put Masvidal on the ground. And Masvidal spent the majority of the fight defending takedowns, and he ran out of gas as the fight went on, and Kamaru Usman just used his wrestling, his conditioning, and just wore out Masvidal. It's pretty self-explanatory if you watch the fight. There's links to the fight on YouTube as well. If any of you guys didn't get the chance to watch it, they wanted to watch it. Not the sexiest win, but he remains the top of the division, and it reminds everybody why he's the king of the welterweights. To be honest, nobody can beat him right now. His next fight will probably be Gilbert Burns, he was supposed to fight originally. He's gonna run through him too. So yeah, props to Masvidal. Honestly, Nigerian Nightmare. Once again, he always puts on for the green and white. Appreciate you, bro. Picked him to win, to be honest. And yeah. So let me get into the stats. Total strikes, 263 to 88 in favor of Usman. Significant strikes, 94 to 66. Takedowns, 5-0. Clinch control time, 10 minutes and 6 seconds to 0 seconds. At no point in the fight did Masvidal control in the clinch. Great fight. Props to Usman. Once again, steps out there and dominates like he always does. So my next fight is going to be Alexander Volkanowski versus Max Holloway. It was a split decision that the champion Volkanowski won, which was honestly highly questionable. So much to the point where even Dana White came out yesterday and said, "We have the judging in the UFC sucks." But honestly, I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, and I'm not gonna completely. I understand where everybody's coming from, but I'm not gonna completely down the judging and any of that because how often does this happen where there's a fight where the winner a lot of people don't agree with? Like, it doesn't happen too often. Maybe, even though it's bad, it doesn't happen too often to where the system is broken or anything like that. I feel like the UFC have very good judges, to be honest, for the most part. But to get back into this fight, Max Holloway honestly started fast, and he looked incredible. Way better than the fighter he looked like in December of 2019, the first time he fought Volkanowski. He came out throwing crisp, clean, precise, hard punches, stunned Volkanowski, and also dropped him with a leg kick like towards the end of the first round. The second round was honestly much of the same. After watching the fight, again, I watched it again because I was like, okay, maybe, I don't know. I watched it again. Honestly, I had Holloway winning three rounds. Fourth and the fifth one, I don't know if he won it, but the fourth one was kind of close, and I could see why the judges would have gave it to Volkanovski if they did, but I didn't see the score sheet or anything like that, but I still had to fight 3-2 rounds. But apparently apparently only one judge saw it like that. So unfortunate, but this was definitely probably the most controversial fight all year, to the point where there are even UFC stars, big names in the UFC just coming out on Twitter. I can't name them off the top of my head who I saw, but there was a good amount of them were just like, Max got robbed, which I honestly think he did. Again, so many people took to social media to voice their displeasure with the judging, and especially this fight. But to all the fighters out there and people who want to fight in the future and people who see themselves fighting, this is honestly why you don't leave it to judges to decide the fight. To be honest, this is why you've got to finish your dude, and especially if you're in a title fight. But I understand fighters are thinking, the judges should be able to score the fight correctly and X, Y, and Z. But unfortunately for Max Holloway, that didn't happen. Props to Volkanovski for picking up the win. There's probably going to be a trilogy to their saga. I think. I'm not sure. I would hope. And yeah, the last fight I'm going to talk about is Petr Yan. Defeats Jose Aldo by TKO in the 5th round. I'm gonna be honest. Jose Aldo looked great. And in the beginning of the first round, he looked great. But then the momentum of the fight changed drastically when Aldo started off well, but at the end of the first, things got a little bad for him because he attempted a takedown, but Petr Yan reversed it. And then honestly, as he was on top of him, he landed a huge body shot. I hit him straight in the abdomen, and you could see Jose Aldo's reaction to that. He he immediately grabbed for his abdomen, and you could tell that body shot affected him for the remainder of the fight. Second and third round were just stand up slugfest, and Petr Yan had to fight. One thing I noticed is Petr Yan had to fight out of southpaw because all the leg damage he took from Jose Aldo. Because due to his from his lead leg. So he had to fight in the southpaw. But the 4th and 5th round, Jan turned up the pressure, and it was just too much for Jose Aldo to even handle. If that fight didn't even get, obviously the fight got stopped in the 5th round, but even if it didn't get stopped in the 5th round, like, if the fight would have went the distance, Petr Yan did enough to win. And honestly, Jose Aldo just ran out of steam and just wasn't. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. He's definitely a shade of what he used to be. Like, he's like people are not fearful of him. Like he's man. Since losing to Conor McGregor, I think he's probably like won maybe once or twice of like 5 fights. I don't know if he still got it anymore. Like, I know people are just he's not feared the same way he was at one point in the division. But great card. Rose Yamanuis picks up a W as well. To wrap up the main card. And yeah, I'm really excited. This was a great card. I think the next card is on what's the 15th? I think the next card is going to be sometime this week as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. Really excited about that. So props to the UFC, honestly, for another great event that they were able to put on. So my next topic. So for those of you who don't know, I live in Los Angeles, California, and it was a very good. I was enjoying my on Saturday mornings. I usually spend them watching Chelsea play whoever they're playing in the Premier League, and unfortunately for me, this Saturday wasn't very good. But I guess it was kind of offset by the fact that Leicester City failed miserably on Sunday, yesterday. They failed miserably and lost 4-1 to Bournemouth. And Dominic Solanke came through, the ex-Chelsea product, scoring 2 goals. But I guess in hindsight, Leicester losing, because we all know that Leicester, Manchester United, and Chelsea are all fighting for the for top 4 finishes so they can qualify for the Champions League next season, because later today, we're going to find out exactly what's going to happen with Manchester City, if they're going to be allowed to play in the Champions League next year, what the decision on their appeal is. But which is going to make everything a lot clearer. So, because if that's the case, then 5th place will also qualify for the Champions League. But let's get into it. So Chelsea lost 3-0, and honestly, it could have been worse. I could see like that. Wasn't up for it for that game from like the first 5 minutes of the game. Chelsea couldn't break down Sheffield United's defense at all. Watching that game was a complete waste of my time. Sheffield United scored 3 goals, and 2 of them were scored. Wait. 2 of them, this is the killer. 2 of them were scored by somebody who hasn't scored in 27 league games. Can you believe that? This dude hasn't scored in almost a whole season. Like, what match day just concluded? Match day 35, right? Yeah, 35, because there's 38 games, and Chelsea has 3 more games. So 35 just concluded. This dude hasn't scored since match day 8. So what? What were we talking about? September? This dude hasn't scored since September. Come on now. Ridiculous. But he scores a brace against Chelsea. Shows how trash our defense is. This was by far the worst performance and the worst game I've seen Chelsea play all season. Everybody looked terrible. Nobody played well at all. Not a single person. It was straight up trash, bad, horrendous, terrible, disgusting play from all the starting 11. Disgusting. I was so disappointed. I was so disappointed to be a Chelsea fan after watching that. The only player I can say that played decent was Pulisic. And even every time he touched the ball, he was surrounded by like 3 players ASAP. The back line was garbage. And Kepa was garbage. The thing about Kepa is there are goalkeepers at the bottom of the Premier League with worse defenses, and they still put up better stats than Kepa. This defense gives any team the confidence that they can attack us and score goals. Okay? Aspilicueta, terrible. Rudiger, terrible. Zuma, terrible. Christensen, terrible. Alonso, terrible. Reece James, terrible. Jorginho, terrible. All this dude does is pass the ball backwards like 200 times. Bro, the whole time I was watching the game, I'm like, bro, like, why is he playing CDM? He's not physical. He's not fast. All he knows how to do is pass the ball back. Like, he knows how to make good assists and pass the ball forward. But, like, in terms, like, this dude as your CDM, no way. This is why we need a good backup CDM for whenever Conte gets hurt. This makes no sense. Conte's the key, and Chelsea need a solid backup for him when he gets injured, because obviously it's been happening more frequently. But Frank Lampard needs to rip his entire team. They all played terrible, garbage, and the only reason why we're still in the top four, because Manchester United is playing. Who are they playing later today? No, who are they playing? Who are they playing? I don't know who they're playing right now. I don't know who they're playing off the top. Let me check. I don't know who they're playing, but I'm going to check. Yeah, honestly, they played terrible. And, yeah, they played terrible. I can't even sugarcoat it. They're garbage. It's crazy because we signed a lot of players this transfer window, and we're thinking about signing another one. But none of those players can play defense. None of them play defense. We signed a striker, a winger, and we're in the talks to sign another striker. So I'm sitting here like, okay, how exactly are we going to improve? First of all, we need a new keeper and we need a new back four. Straight up, I can't sugarcoat it any simpler. Once this season concludes, get rid of all of those dudes. Our defense is garbage. Out of the top four, we've given up the most goals. I checked the stat earlier today. Out of the top four, we've given up the most goals. That's garbage. That's not Chelsea FC. That's not Chelsea FC. That's not the Chelsea I support. That's garbage. Garbage. Get it together. Let's get it together, finish the season off right, so we can play Champions League football next year. Ridiculous. So, the NFLPA and the NFL, so the Players Association and the executives in the NFL are trying to get things solidified this week. Training camp is starting in 2 weeks, and both stars are trying to get clarity real soon and trying to finalize a number of things. So, with the whole COVID situation, so the players want testing every single day, right? And the players also don't want any preseason games. While the league and the owners want 2 preseason games, and they want testing often, but not every day. So that's one of the things that they're not seeing eye to eye on. Roster size is another thing. Revenue, how are they gonna split the burden of losing the profit of fans being able to attend games? And yeah, which is crazy. This is crazy to think, because once COVID first started, the NFL was probably the league that was in the best position, because they had just ended their season, and as I stated before, they had just ended their season. They had just concluded the combine. The combine had happened just like the week or two before, and they, regardless of the whole situation, they were still able to have a draft, a virtual draft. It was successful. Everything was successful. But considering how things haven't really improved at all, things have actually gotten worse. The NFL is now in I wouldn't say panic mode, but like they have a lot of etching out to do, because I feel like most of the masses thought by this time things would have gotten better, but it didn't. And yeah, so the NFL is now in a tough spot. And if I was the NFL, I would just do everything the players wanted, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are taking the risk. If the players don't want to play a preseason game, don't make them play the preseason game. If the players want to get tested every single day, regardless of how expensive it is, test them every single day. Why not? Why shouldn't you do that? The NBA does it. The UFC's doing it. Like, okay, I understand it's going to be expensive, but so what? Are you not trying to keep the players safe? Like you're asking the players to take the risk and play and put themselves accessible to catching the virus, but you don't want to offer testing every single day. That's selfish. That's stupid. That's dumb. Get it together. We need to start holding these organizations accountable. Get it together. Players are saying I'm with the players. They want to get tested every single day. Why? How is that a bad thing? Why is that a bad thing? How can the NFL even not agree with that? Idiots. Absolute idiots. So we should get a verdict on that sometime this week, either today or tomorrow, as the Players Association will be meeting with the owners. So we're gonna see how that works out. I'm really excited to see that. So yeah, that is going to wrap up today's podcast. Manchester United is playing in an hour or two, so I'm gonna watch that. I'm hoping they lose because I don't like Manchester United. I love Chelsea FC till I die. I encourage all the fans of my favorite team to support my podcast, like my podcast, subscribe to my podcast. Jacksonville Jaguars fans, come on, tap in. Chelsea FC fans, tap in. Laker fans, tap in. UFC Trojan fans, tap in. Arizona State fans, tap in. Let's get lit. Let's shake the room. Movie. All that. Viral. And yeah, I hope all you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Have a blessed week. Once again, do me a favor. Like this video. Comment on it. I touched on a couple things. If you agree, disagree, let me know. Subscribe to my channel and hit the bell notification. It really helps me a lot. I want to thank you guys all for supporting me. The views are kind of going down right now, but once again, I don't really care. I know where I see myself in the future at the top, viral. And thank you very much for all the people supporting me. Do me a favor and also follow me on Instagram at Michael Odelu. Follow me on Twitter, Michael Odelu. Support Pull Up the Tape. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And shake the room. Let's get it.